Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, Master Obi-197. I hope everyone had a happy May the 4th and also a happy Revenge of the 5th. In this video, I'm going to continue my review of the Star Wars The Clone Wars movie. At the end of my last video, I left off where Anakin and Ahsoka were going off to rescue Jabba the Hutt's son, Rada, and Obi-Wan was going to negotiate a treaty with Jabba. So anyway, Obi-Wan goes and negotiates a treaty with Jabba and promises the Jedi will get his son back to him alive. And Jabba also demands that the Jedi bring back whoever kidnapped his son, either dead or alive. And he also says that if the Jedi don't succeed, then Count Dooku and his droid army will. Meanwhile, Anakin and Ahsoka lead an assault on the monastery on Teb, where Jabba's son is being held. Anyways, back on Tatooine, after Obi-Wan leaves Jabba's palace, Count Dooku arrives and tells Jabba that it's actually the Jedi who have kidnapped his son, and that he'll soon provide him with proof. And back on Tep, Anakin and Ahsoka are able to make their way to where Rada's being held, and they free him. However, Asajj Ventress and this droid she's with makes a recording of them that makes it look like that they're hurting Rada, and she transmits this footage back to Count Dooku, who plays it to Jabba, who was furious and believed Dooku's lies. So anyway, Dooku told Asajj to recapture Jabba's son and bring him to Jabba. Anyway, Rex and the other clone troopers end up getting captured by Ventress. And Anakin and Ahsoka, they make their way back to the monastery. Then Obi-Wan arrives in the system to reinforce Anakin. But the enemy's jamming their signal, so their communications break up. Then Ventress catches up to Anakin and Ahsoka. They're on this landing platform in the back of the monastery. But Anakin and Ahsoka hop on this fly-like creature, and they go to this other landing platform with a ship on it called the Twilight, and they end up escaping from Tef from that. And meanwhile, Obi-Wan ends up confronting Ventress, and they fight, and they both miss when Anakin jumps to light speed. And anyway, Ventress ends up, since Obi-Wan's winning the fight, she ends up jumping onto a droid fighter that's going by and escapes. And meanwhile, Anakin and Ahsoka are on their way to Tatooine. And then also Rada ends up being sick, and Ahsoka gives him some medicine which helps him get better. Anyway, this part of the movie I thought was okay. It wasn't anything really good or anything, but I enjoyed Asajj Ventress's role in this. I liked the fight she has with Obi-Wan. I like seeing Anakin and Ahsoka's their relationship as Master and Padawan continue to develop, and they develop like a older brother, younger sister type relationship. Also, I like Count Dooku as a villain, and I'm glad they got Sir Christopher Lee to come back to voice him in this. So Count Dooku, anyway, Asajj Ventress tells Count Dooku that Skywalker escaped and that he's headed to Tatooine, and she ends up lying and saying that Anakin killed Jabba's son. And then Dooku tells Jabba that Anakin's now on his way to Tatooine to kill him, but Dooku promises that he would deal with the Jedi personally. So Anakin and Ahsoka, they arrive at Tatooine, and Anakin says that he'd hope to never lay eyes on Tatooine again. And Ahsoka asks him why, and he says he doesn't want to talk about it. Anyway, I like this reference to Anakin's past on Tatooine, and that it's going back to it, which he hoped he wouldn't ever have to, brings back bad memories he has there of what happened to his mother and things like that. So anyway, they get intercepted by droid fighters, which Anakin, also with the help of R2-D2, is able to shoot down. But they do get hit by one of them and have to crash land on Tatooine. So anyway, they exit the twilight and start making their way to Jabba's palace. Anyway, meanwhile, Obi-Wan contacts Master Yoda, who's sitting in Chancellor Palpatine's office, and gives him an update on Anakin and said that he's reached Tatooine, but Jabba might believe that the Jedi have kidnapped his son. And Yoda says that if the Hutts believe that the Republic and Jedi won't have a chance of securing a treaty with them, and they'll join the Separatists. So anyway, after Obi-Wan's transmission ends, Yoda goes to leave, and Padme enters the office. And anyway, Chancellor Palpatine mentions to Padme about there being several skirmishes in the Outer Rim, including one with Obi-Wan and Anakin. And anyway, Palpatine explains the situation with the Hutts, and anyway, Padme says that she knows of an uncle of Jabba the Hutt's that lives downtown on Coruscant, and maybe that she could go and reason with him and clear the Jedi's name. But Palpatine tries to talk her out of doing this, but she goes anyway. So anyway, Padme goes to Jabba's uncle Zero the Hutt's his club on Coruscant, and tries to explain the situation and say that the Jedi have rescued his son, not kidnapped him, and that it's all a big misunderstanding. And then Zero the Hutt says that there's no misunderstanding and orders his droid to escort Padme out. But however, she doesn't leave, and she ends up overhearing a conversation between Zero and Count Dooku via hologram, and learns that Zero has secretly been plotting with Count Dooku and helped him kidnap Jabba's son. But she gets caught, and Dooku tells Zero that she's very powerful. She's very valuable to one of his separatist allies, and they'd pay a handsome price for her. And anyway, Zero says that he likes the sound of that, and that he'd become rich with this, and orders the guards to take her away to the dungeon. And then Zero thanks Count Dooku for and said this has been a most profitable ally. Anyway, with Zero the Hutt, he's a villain that I love to hate. But anyway, so Anakin ends up, or Anakin senses a disturbance in the Force, and he ends up sending Ahsoka ahead of him with Jabba's son Rada. And anyway, Count Dooku ends up confronting Anakin after this, and they fight again. But Count Dooku tells him, or Count Dooku goes to kill Jabba's son, who he thinks is in the backpack on Anakin's back, but it's just a bunch of rocks. But he tells Anakin he expected such treachery from a Jedi, and that he assures him his web is strong enough to catch his Padawan. And he ends up playing a holographic recording of her fighting Dooku's manga guards. So anyway, Anakin ends up taking Dooku's speeder, going toward Jabba's palace, but he ends up going past Ahsoka, who's fighting the guards, and she tries to call out to him, but he is able to hear her, and she's able to defeat all the guards. And Anakin ends up arriving at Jabba's palace, but is surprised that Jabba's son isn't there. And then Anakin ignites his lightsaber and asks Jabba where's his Padawan. And then Ahsoka walks in and gives Jabba his son back, but Jabba tells the Jedi they're to be executed immediately anyway. But anyway, back on Coruscant, Zero's droid takes Padme to be taken to his dungeon, but or they put Padme in the dungeon, but they end up turning on her comlink, and C-3PO answers it, and Padme tells him that she's being held by Zero the Hutt and to call for help. And anyway, C-3PO and a squad of clone troopers arrive, and they and Padme end up arresting Zero the Hutt, who says that he ends up saying that Count Dooku threatened to kill him if he didn't help him kidnap Jabba's son, and that he had no choice. But anyway, meanwhile, back at Jabba's palace, Jabba's about to have the Jedi executed. He gets a message who he thinks is from Zero, but is from Padme, who tells him that and explains to him about his uncle's treachery. And anyway, Jabba agrees that let the Jedi move their troops through his territory. The movie ends with Yoda and Obi-Wan picking up Anakin and Ahsoka from Jabba's palace. Anyways, like I said before, I think this movie is okay. Like I said before, Zero the Hutt is a villain that I love to hate, but I was glad when he got arrested at the end of the movie. I liked Obi-Wan and Anakin's roles in this movie. I also liked seeing the beginning of Anakin and Ahsoka's relationship as Master and Padawan. And also, like I said before, I think that Count Dooku and Asajj Ventress were good villains in this movie. Um, Anyways, please feel free to let me know in the comments what y'all think of the Clone Wars movie. Thank you all for watching my video. Y'all have a great day and may the Force be with you.